In the year 2001, Nintendo stepped into the 6th generation of gaming with their console known as the Nintendo GameCube. Its lineup in its first year was pretty good. We have Super Smash Bros. Melee, the game that would become a smash hit and would become one of the most popular fighting games of all time. Rave Race Blue Storm was a sequel to Rave Race 64, and Luigi's Mansion was odd considering the fact that the launch titles for Nintendo's consoles at the time starred Mario, but later go on to be cherished for years and even got 2 sequels. But within the options menu of Luigi's Mansion, there's a little trailer that you could watch for a little game called Pikmin, which also released around the same time. Ever since I first played Pikmin 3 back in 2013, I've adored this franchise for years and would later get Pikmin 2, but Christmas the same year I got Pikmin 3, and I kind of got a little too excited, if I'm being honest. Pikmin 1 was the last game I got since I didn't want to play it due to the time limit even though I could have beat it just fine. But before playing it, however, I watched Anoi's Pikmin 1 LP back in the day before finally deciding to get myself. Throughout the years, I've played Pikmin 1 over and over, and I'm being honest, and not only used to be my favorite in the series until I played Pikmin 4, it's one of my favorite games of all time. The game starts out with Captain Olimar crash landing on an uncharted planet due to a meteor and finds his ship to be destroyed beyond repair. He then realizes that the oxygen on the planet is toxic to him and his life support can only last 30 more days until he dies. This is where the gameplay starts. Olimar can only walk around and punch until he finds this thing called an onion. The onion sprouts from the ground and plants a seed. Olimar plucks it and finds a certain creature who decides to name Pikmin. On the end is Pikmin in particular. To see Pikmin! He's fat. Outs more Pikmin and eventually finds the engine and brings it back to S's Dolphin. The day ends as the journey begins for him to collect the missing ship parts and return home to his family. Now that we're done with our first day, let's explain the gameplay. You control Captain Olimar and you get 3 types of Pikmin: red, yellow, and blue. Reds are the strongest and are fireproof, yellows are light so they can be thrown to higher places and they can carry bomb rocks, and blues have yellows so they can breathe underwater. You can throw and swarm them to attack enemies and collect ship parts. It's pretty simple once you get used to the gameplay, but it is really fun. There's also a 30-day time limit, which may be daunting at first, but there are also 30 ship parts, so as long as you get 1 ship part per day, you should be fine. The days usually last for 15 minutes, so you have to grow more Pikmin, fight enemies, explore the area to find more ship parts. And make sure any Pikmin don't get left behind during the night. First, let's start off with a Voice of Hope. This is where the game really begins. There's a good amount of stuff to do here and there's a good full first area, not counting an impact site. But with first timers it can be a bit difficult if you don't know what to do, especially when you're introduced to the first enemies of the game, or Bulboibs, which are technically the Goombas of the franchise. There's also more enemies like middle Sheargrubs, which can be a pain in the ass if you're trying to do no death in this game. Like if a Sheargrubs grabs the Pikmin, they basically gains mortality until it swallows the Pikmin. Thankfully this only happens in Pikmin 1. Oh, and speaking of that, Pikmin can dive to get eaten, crushed, set on fire, drown, and get crushed under bridges for some reason, even though that's a glitch. Especially if you're inexperienced. I watched Anoi's Pikmin 1 and LP hundreds of times, so I was able to beat it just on my first playthrough. But a lot of first timers can find the game quite challenging and even get a bad ending, but I'll get to that here soon. Female Sheargrubs don't eat Pikmin, but they can undo your work on bridges by eating them. There's also an enemy that doesn't do anything called a log pool, and I'm sure it isn't foreshadowing anything in the next area. I'm sure of it. There's also 2 bosses in the area. First up is the Horned Cannon Beetle. The Horned Cannon Beetle is some kind of beetle that shoots boulders at you, crushing your Pikmin in the process. The only way to damage it is to throw Pikmin at its blowhole before it attacks, so it opens up its weak spot. And the Burrowing Snaglet is some kind of bird-snake hybrid that pecks at your Pikmin and can be pretty annoying to defeat unless he gets stuck on the ground. Now, it's no secret that this game takes place on post-apocalyptic Earth years after the human race has died out. It's not mentioned at all, but I think it works considering the weird creatures that start to exist years later, like the Bulboib. I also love the game's atmosphere, where it makes you feel small considering the size of everything. In the Forest Navel, you find the blue onion, the most epic creature to ever exist, the bread bug. There's only one bread bug in this game, but he makes his presence known by tossing a ship part and going after any pellets or enemies that are lying around. The Forest Navel looks like it takes place in some sort of cave or a deep part of the forest, which works considering the fact that it's a bit more difficult than the forest of harder enemies. Speaking of harder enemies, we have the bane of everybody's existence, a Wollywog, or Wollihop, I don't know. These psychopaths jump up and squash Pikmin just for the hell of it, like they don't gain anything from it, like, what the hell is wrong with them? Why do they do this? There's also Shearwigs, which are just flying shear grubs, and there's a Fire Blowhog, which blows fire at you and can be a bit annoying, especially if they launch you into the water. There are also two bosses in this area as well. There's Soft Puffstole, and this guy doesn't really do much, but if you knock him over, he can get back up and see Pikmin do Puffman. They can only turn back to normal if you shake them off with all my joystick. There's also the BB Longlegs, some giant yellow weird thing that seems to be based off of Daddy Longlegs. This guy stomps around and stomps Pikmin. You mainly need yellows in order to reach it, and when it dies, it doesn't even leave a corpse behind. It just crumbles to dust, leaving behind the ship part and some wait a minute, how the hell did he? Now we go back to the impact site. What started out as a tutorial area is now a place you can grow more Pikmin. There's also a certain enemy called Pearly Clam in this area. You can throw Pikmin onto its pearl to damage it, but an animation starts to then snap! Instantly devoured. The only way to avoid this is to call back a Pikmin in the last second so they won't be devoured. This enemy also drops a pearl which can give you 50 Pikmin. You can also still eat your Pikmin even after death if you throw your Pikmin onto it. Like you would ever do that. There's also two optional bosses in the area after you collect the other ship parts. First off, we have a Gulick, some watery blob that can be easily taken out of blue Pikmin, and then there's a Malmuda, who doesn't even kill Pikmin, just slams them into the ground and flowerizing them, meaning it's kind of harmless to Pikmin, but it is harmful to all of mine. Now let's go to the Distant Spring, the largest area in the game. The Distant Spring is set in a huge wetland of sandy and grassy terrain, which is surrounded by lakes and islands. For the enemies we have a Ball Bear, which is a souped up Bulborb. This is the only game in the series where it's a sleep pod because the ones in the sequels are in dark caves. There's also a yellow Wollywog, which is to say a Wollywog with touched grass. There's also a puffy Blowhog, assholes who blow and deflower icy Pikmin. And don't even get me started on a swooping Snitchbug, which is the worst in this game. These guys go around the map, chase you down, barrier Pikmin, which can be annoying. At least in the sequels, they at least have a decency to stay in one area on the map. Oh, and speaking of buried Pikmin, if they're in the ground for too long, they cease to exist for some reason. This is something I discovered in one of my more recent playthroughs, though, so I don't think you'll encounter it unless you do that intentionally. There's also about 10 ship parts in this area and can be a bit hard if you don't know what you're doing, especially with all the puppy Blowhogs and Snitchbugs getting in the way. Oh, and behind Cannondale returns, something special, it's just him again. There's also one ship part where you need yellows but it's surrounded by water, so you can use two Candy Pop Buds, which can transform Pikmin into different colors. Even though this is the only time Candy Pop Buds are ever useful for me to use, after getting every ship part in the area, you'll unlock one final area, the final trial. Oh, and I forgot to mention the egg. There's an egg in the Distant Spring that gives you 100 free Pikmin. It has gold orb in it, just like for Pearly Clam Flam, but this one gives you 100 Pikmin instead of 50. It's very epic. I recommend breaking it. Oh yeah, do not make sure its life bar does not go down to 0. Make sure to wait until it hatches and it reveals a gold orb. But before that, I want to talk about how replayable this game is, because this game is genuinely one of the most fun games to speedrun. In the options menu, there's a high score graph showing how many days you took and how many Pikmin you lost. This motivates you to get better at the game and beat at a much faster rate considering how short the game is. And since you get better at the game, it does become pretty easy after a while. The fastest time I beat it was in 9 days, which was pretty difficult, but the fastest time was 6 days? Holy crap, I don't know how that's even possible. I replayed this game a lot ever since the Switch version came out and 4 more times in the Wii version before then. Now, are there any problems with the game? Yes. Considering the fact this is the first game in the series and an early GameCube game, there are bound to be flaws. The biggest flaw of the game is the AI of the Pikmin. The Pikmin can get caught on grass to get nectar and even drink an entire thing of nectar. They cannot be straight up stupid with bomb rocks. Even though it's kind of rare to happen, if you throw a Pikmin with a bomb rock and spawn the flint beetles right next to you, they can throw it at your army and kill them, which can either be irritating or pretty funny. There is a good reason why swimming is in this game since it can help with making sure your Pikmin don't get into trouble and it's useful for attacking enemies. Now let's go to the final trial. Oh yeah, spoilers I guess, but it doesn't really matter anyway. The final trial mainly has one ship part, and in order to get to it, you have to get through this part, which requires all 3 types of Pikmin. And then the final boss, Emperor Bulblax, which is basically just a giant Bulboid. I love how he's technically the only enemy in the area, since for other creatures would probably not want to go near Emperor Bulblax, except us because he has the last ship part. He can lash out his tongue and literally devour all 100 Pikmin in one go if you're not careful. He can also jump in the air and crush your Pikmin, so the best way to deal with him is to make him eat a bomb rock so he'll get stunned and leaving you an opportunity to attack. Beat this until he dies, but there's no soul leaving his body after death animation. It's time to take out a piggy bank before he might come back, I don't know. The ending is really good. Olimar says goodbye to the Pikmin and leaves the planet. The Pikmin also learn how to defend themselves by attacking a nearby Bulboid, which is a good ending for Pikmin. We then see Olimar leave the planet, with multiple colored onions leaving the surface as well. I wonder what that's foreshadowing. And anyway, I do really hope Olimar gets to see his family again after this game, but it sure would be a shame if some dumbass makes the company he works to go into debt. Just a roll call for all the enemies in the game, and that was Pikmin 1. Now, it's not perfect. The AI for Pikmin and straight up sucks, especially compared to its sequels. But in my opinion, this is the most replayable game in the franchise, and I cannot wait to play it again. This game is on GameCube, Wii, and Switch. The GameCube and Switch versions are almost identical, but the Wii version has pointer controls so you can aim them anywhere you want. This may be the definitive version of the game, but the Switch version does have gyro aim and it was recently ported to the Switch. I would definitely recommend picking that up along with Pikmin 2 as well on the eShop physically, which came out recently. It definitely is one of my favorite games to come out in 2001. Maybe I should cover another game that came out that year as well next time. We shall see.